Thank you. Thank you. I don't say that to brag. I didn't come this far to tell that story to brag. I came here today to tell that story to let you know that each and every one of us has been impregnated with something so great such that if we give birth to it, it'll make Bill Gates look like a midget in the annals of history. But yet and still, too many of us have already committed to having abortions on our dreams. Why are you here? What is it you want to be? Everything that you want to be, all the tools and mechanisms are here for you. You're in an incubator of greatness. We need you to go back to your dormitory room today or wherever you stand, and we need you to get in that mirror where hopefully you got pretty at this morning, where hopefully you brush your teeth, comb your hair, and we need you to put your goals and your dreams right on that mirror so that every day when you wake up and look at that mirror, you know what it is you are here to accomplish. You're not going to allow anybody stand in the way of you and your dreams. Nobody, not even Spellman, not your family, nobody, nobody. Nobody. Young men, this is trying times for black men in America. We need you all. We need you all. In closing, I want you all to know that this thing is about seed planting. And we need leaders now. Benjamin Elijah Mays said that I'd rather go to hell by choice than to go to heaven by following the crowd. Many of our black men are dying on street corners, even right here at Morehouse, because they're following the crowd. Some of you all right here are going to lead your brother the wrong way, but we need you all to be able to think critically such that when that brother decides to go the wrong way, you say, I'm not going and you shouldn't go, but if you go, I'm not. Stand up and be your own man. Stand up and be your own man. Stand up and be your own man. In June 1985, my mom brought me to Morehouse. This is about seed planting. And she came up on campus. This is probably what your mom did for you. And when she came up on campus, my mom only had one thing on her mind. She said, where will my baby be living? And they said, the dormitory room is over there, Miss Mackie. And she went to the dormitory room and she kicked the door open and she looked and she said, oh no, that's not good enough for my baby. She said, where's the bathroom? She said, the bathroom over there. She went to the bathroom door and she kicked it open and she stepped in. Something about mothers in bathrooms I'd never understand. And she was like, oh no, this is not good enough for my baby. She said, come on, we have to go to Walmart. And my mom took me to Walmart. When we got to Walmart, she bought some Lysol, some Pine Sol, she bought some Comets, some sheets and some towels, and she bought me some new drawers, some new underwear. I said, Mom, I don't need no new drawers. She said, boy, get the drawers, you might get in a wreck. I said, I'm not worried, if I get in a wreck, I'm not worried about my drawers. She said, boy, get the drawers. We got the drawers, we came back to the dormitory room. She mopped the floor, she put the sheets on the bed, she put the spread on the bed, she put the towels in the cabinet, and she grabbed that Pine Sol. My mom loved that Pine Sol. And she went to that bathroom door and she kicked it open and she put that Pine Sol all over that bathroom, all over. And I mean, the Pine Sol was so strong, we had to go to the bathroom like this. One young man said, man, your mama. I said, boy, don't say nothing about my mama. We came back out, we looked at the work that she had done, and she gave me a hug. She said, handle your business. And she got in the truck and she was about to pull off. And she looked up and the tears was coming out my eyes. She stopped the truck, she got out, she said, boy, what's wrong with you? I said, Mom, I don't want to see you go. I've never been away from home. And she said, look, if this isn't the place where I raised you to be, to make your dreams come true. She said, if this isn't the place where your Creator has placed you to make your dreams come true, she said, get in the truck, I'll take you home. And I didn't say this, I just thought this. Because in 1985, we talked back to our mom, should have put a whole leg in our mouth. So I just thought this. I was waving goodbye thinking this. Well, with that attitude, just going back to New Orleans. I'm not going with that. Bye. Young men, that was June 1985. To show you that you'll be put in positions that you never thought. That's why you got to do all the things now, such that you'll be ready for that moment. June 1995, my younger brother called me and told me he had been accepted in North Carolina School of the Arts. 1 year previous to that, on May 31st, if I wasn't a man on May 31st, the government became a man on June 1st, 1994. And people say, Calvin, how did you know if you wasn't a man one day, you was a man the next day? April 3rd, 1994, I got a call that changed my life. April 6th, 1994, I was supposed to stand before a board of experts and defend my PhD proposal. They were going to vote me up or vote me down. April 3rd, 1994, at the tender age of 51, my mother called me and told me that she had been diagnosed with terminal breast cancer. I said, I'm coming home. She said, stay there. I said, I'm coming home. She said, stay there and get your education. People at Morehouse rallied around me. 3 days later, I defended my PhD proposal and almost passed out from the stress. My Morehouse family picked me up, took me to the airport, and flew me down to New Orleans to see my mom. For the next 2 months, I was going back and forth between New Orleans and Atlanta. This real, young man. May 31st, 1994, in the house that my father built for myself, my other 5 siblings, my mother, at the tender age of 51, died upstairs where we sat downstairs. Now, I don't care how old you are. I don't care if you're 80 and your mom is 100. Nothing can ever prepare you for the pain of watching the undertaker come into your house and remove your mother's body. Nothing. Nothing. And I sat there because I wasn't only there to see my mother, but at the age of 27 years old, while planning my mother's funeral, my younger brothers and sisters were supposed to go through their promotional exercise from the 9th grade at the junior high school my mom had sent to all her children. I wasn't only there to see my mother. Now, I wasn't only there to see my younger brothers and sisters go through their promotional exercise, but at 27 years old, while planning my mother's funeral, less than 12 hours later, I was to be the speaker at my brothers and sisters' 9th grade graduation. I sat there with my head in my hands. I was wondering what I was going to do. And my younger sister turned to me and she said, "Are you speaking tomorrow?" And I thought about it. I said, "Yes, I am." My younger brother turned and said, "You speaking?" I said, "Yes, I am." I said, "You marching?" She said, "I'm marching." Turned to my brother, said, "You marching?" He said, "I'm marching." And right then and there, I realized my mother taught us something in debt that many people live a lifetime and never learn. And young men, that is, life is for the living. And every day you got to get up and be about the business of making your dreams come true. Every day. Every day. This is what your parents want from you. They don't want a car. They don't want riches. They don't want a house. Now, if you give them that, that's all right. But this is what they want. This whole speech is about this. This is what Morehouse wants. This is what your parents want. What they want from you is to know that when their eyes close and they are no longer here, that you will be able to take care of yourself. That's all. That is all. That is all. That is all. 1 year later, June 1995, I flew my brother up to Atlanta, put him in a truck. We was rolling up to North Carolina. We was going down the street, and he said, "Man, I wish Mama could be here." I said, "Look, man, Mama can't be here. You hang in there." And we rolled up to North Carolina School of the Arts. We pulled up on campus. I had one question. I said, "Where's his dormitory room?" And they said, "The dormitory room is over there." And I went and I kicked it open. And I looked, and I said, "Oh, no, that's not going to do for you, bro." I said, "Where's his bathroom?" They said, "Over there." I went and I kicked the bathroom door open. I stepped in. I was like, "Oh, no, no." I said, "Come on, we have to go to Walmart." Look, I took him to Walmart. When he got to Walmart, I bought some Lysol, some Pine Sol, some Common, some sheets, and some towels. Know what else I bought him? He said, "Man, I don't need no drawers." I said, "Boy, get the drawers." We got the drawers, came back to the dormitory room. We mopped the floor, put the sheets on the bed, put the spread on the bed, put the towels in the cabinet, and I grabbed that Pine Sol. Now I went to that bathroom door, and I kicked it open, and I stepped in. I stepped out and said, "No, you got to clean your own bathroom. You know better. You got to clean your own bathroom." Young man, Mommy and Daddy are not always going to be here. And you got to take personal responsibility for your safety, your life, your career right now. Not tomorrow. It's too late. We need it now. Look at your hygiene. Look how you carry yourself. Understand that you're being prepared to deal with the world and sit with kings and queens, and that training starts today. So we went back to the room, and I gave my brother a hug, and I said, "Handle your business." And I got in the truck, and I was about to pull off. And I looked up, and a tear was coming out his eye. I stopped the truck and got out. I said, "Man, what's wrong with you?" He said, "Bro, I don't want to see you go." And I said, "Boy, look, if this isn't the place where your mother raised you to be, to make your dreams come true, if this isn't the place where your Creator has placed you to make your dreams come true," I said, "Get in the truck, I'll take you home." And I guess he thought like me, young man, because when I pulled off, he was standing there doing it. Young man, I tell that story to say this. If this isn't the place where your mother raised you to be, where your father raised you to be, if this isn't the place where your Creator has placed you to make your dreams come true, leave, quit, tell Mama to wait, put your stuff back on the car and get out of here. We don't need you, but we want you. You've been chosen. And you got the opportunity to sit at the knees of experts who can tell you and teach you everything you need to do to take on the world. And we don't have time for the foolishness that we see in the world and on the street. We don't have time for it. We need you to take responsibility for your life. We need you to grab this bridle and ride and do all the things that you're going to do. Have fun while you're here, but change yourself and transform your mind. We're not here to play. We're not here to play, to dream, to drift. We got hard work to do and loads to lift. Young brothers, shun not the struggle, 'tis God's gift. God bless you, and I want to be here in 2010 when every one of you all walk across the stage. God bless you. God bless you. God bless you. God bless you. Thank you.